What's happening, vinyl community? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you guys are when you're watching this. It's been a little bit since my last unboxing, but I assure you it's been worth the wait. I've got a Grail to unbox with you guys. First time I'm going to get eyes on it, and it's a Grail that honestly sort of walked into. I'll get into that here in a little bit. But before we do the unboxing, I have an album I want to show you. It's been featured in my channel before as an unboxing, but I don't think it got the credit it deserves, and it's a great segue into the unboxing itself. This is Blue Note 4097, Art Blake and the Afro Drum Ensemble, The African Beat. Great album, one of my absolute favorites. I spin it all the time. Original mono pressing. Plastelite P, Van Gelder stamp, the whole ball of wax. This was given to me as a gift from a mutual friend of the vinyl community. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'll reshare the story with you. Back in my early days of collecting jazz, or getting into jazz early on, I stumbled on this album through Slow Vinyl Records Instagram sales and missed out on it by like a minute. I had sampled it on YouTube, decided I wanted it, but unfortunately I was just a minute too late. Fast forward a couple months, Dylan at Noble Records actually got some jazz albums in, and this one was among them. Reached out and said, hey, if it doesn't sell, can we arrange something? He said, well, we'll see. Unfortunately, it didn't last. And I was like, okay, well, just add it to the list. A friend of mine who I had made in the vinyl community was actually the one that purchased it. And once I found out, we talked, and he said, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a copy already. I'm going to take them home, I'm going to listen to them both, and you get the one that honestly is sort of the runner-up. Well, fast forward a little bit, I got this in the mail, and I was honestly surprised when I unboxed it, because I thought I was getting a first stereo, and I ended up getting a first mono instead. Reached out to him, he just kind of laughed and said, yeah, I couldn't decide, so made a phone call, and this is the result of it, so I hope you enjoy it. So for that person, you know who you are. Again, my friend, thank you for doing that for me. That means a lot to me, and this album has been spun many a time, and it will continue to be spun a lot. And if you can find this one out in the wild, it's been repressed a few times, definitely pick it up. But that's not why you're here. Why you're here is for this album. Now, I've pulled the adhesive off, because this is one of those mailers that's it's kind of a pain, because they put a lot of adhesive on it. But this album, to segue into the unboxing, I was browsing eBay like I do sometimes. I haven't been buying a lot recently. I've been focused on other things, but still look from time to time. And I found a original copy, first pressing stereo of John Coltrane's self-titled on Impulse. I had purchased a second pressing earlier this year, but I always want to upgrade to a true first pressing, because they're that much harder to find. And took my shot, unfortunately missed out at the last second. So I'm like, okay, this guy seems to have some cool stuff. What else does he have? And I saw this album at the very top. It had 1:45 to go. And it was well under what I figured it was going to go for. So I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get it for this. So I'll put my max bid in and see what happens. Well, I did. And I won it. And here she is. This is Blue Note 4136, Solomon Allori and his Afro Drum Ensemble. It's the first pressing stereo. Get that out of here. Super clean jacket. I mean, it's very rare to come across them this clean. Because a lot of the Blue Note titles were loved. They were played, they were loved. I mean, look at that. Look how white that is. Again, no seam splits, beautiful spine. I mean, no, not even any real corner wear. I mean, this thing looks like it had been unwrapped and just sat on somebody's shelf. It features Solomon Ilori on vocal and penny whistle, talking drum and guitar, Chief Bay on conga, Josiah Ilori on Sakara drum and cowbell, Robert Crowder on conga, chicory, cowbell, Montego Joe on conga, Garvin Rousseau on conga, xylophone and cowbell, Jay Berlinger on guitar, Hosea Taylor on alto sax and flute, and Ahmed Abdul Malik on bass. Great album, and it's one that I wasn't aware of up until last November. Chris at Tunes from the Man Cave actually did an unboxing for this album when he found one. Reached out to him, he said it's a great album, see if you can find it on YouTube, sample it, see what you think. Found it pretty easily, listened to it, and absolutely fell in love with it. What he did tell me is it's a harder one to come by because it's a little off the beaten path for Blue Note. And so, tried a couple times, came across an original pressing, got outbidded. I was going to settle on a repress, but I'm like, just take your time, you'll find one. And the vinyl got smiled on me, and I got this one. Yeah, original inner sheet. MoFi sleeve, gotta love that. And outside of a little bit of paper scuffing, this sucker is clean as clean can be. What's interesting about this particular album, and there are a few like it, but if you follow Jason at the Jazz Basement, if you're not familiar with his channel, he did a video about Blue Note variations and how you can tell an original from a repress. Which generally you look for two things. You look for the Van Gelder stamp and the dead wax, and you look for something that's called the Plastelite P, or the ear, as some jazz fans call it in the community. That's not always that is not always the rule, though. There are exceptions, and this is one of those. There are a few albums that came out that were not pressed by Plastelite for various reasons. The biggest amount of them came between in the transitional period for when Blue Note was bought by Liberty Records, and there's a few of them. Art Blakey Indestructible, Dexter Gordon Getting Around are two examples. Another big one is Lee Morgan Cornbread. It'll have the original Blue Note label without the Liberty notification on it, or notes on it, but it does not have a Plastelite P, because at that point they were no longer being pressed with Plastelite. This is one of those that is along with that group. For some random reason, this album was never pressed at Plastelite. It might have something to do with the nature of the music itself, which is not your traditional hard bop or even post bop. It's a little off the beaten path for Blue Note. And that might be why. We'll never know, but it's an amazing album, and it's one I'm very, very happy to have in the collection. And it does go to show you that even in the age of the internet and how prices on everything have just gotten crazy, you still get lucky sometimes. And why I actually brought the Blakey out to show you guys, just here, is because look at this guy here. This guy here, that's that guy. He didn't do very many albums for Blue Note. This one he sat in on, and this is his, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is his only lead session. They're both amazing, and it also hits on a different level, because while I was born in this country, my mother grew up in both India and Southern Africa, so I was actually exposed to a lot of African music pretty early on in life, and absolutely fell in love with it, especially African drums and that kind of thing. So I always search that stuff out, and the original stuff that was pressed in Africa is very, very difficult to come by when you usually find it its beat. So I've had to settle on reissues, but I'm always looking. And that's so it's funny how things work out. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this unboxing with me. If you like what you see, please click like and subscribe. It's been a pleasure doing this unboxing with you guys, and clean this up and put it on the platter and enjoy it. Again, hope you enjoy this unboxing, and we'll talk again soon. You guys have a good one.